One of the most significant moments of my life was when I witnessed my father pass away almost 10 years ago. I was there with my mother and my sister, my original family of 4, keeping watch as my dad's shallow breathing and faint heartbeat slowly came to a final stop. We were there. It was so very sad and painful to see him die. Yet so peaceful and so holy and so surreal. We knew then that nothing would ever be the same. Sometimes I think about my father during Holy Week. Remembering my emotions in his last days and hours helps me to imagine what the people who loved Jesus so deeply were feeling when they witnessed Jesus being tortured and crucified. When Jesus said, "It is finished," and took his final breath, I imagine they were also very sad, possibly very angry. Even though Jesus had told many of them he would rise again in 3 days, those words, which they couldn't really understand when Jesus said them, meant nothing in their state of shock and grief. Nothing would ever be the same. Death comes in many forms besides loss of life. Death marks the end of something that lasted for a significant period of time, often something that contributed to our identity, like a relationship, our good health, or a job. Experiencing a death is like crossing a threshold and knowing that once you are on the other side, life will never be the same again. A cancer diagnosis, divorce, memory decline, being furloughed. In our United States culture, we are quick to change the subject away from the pain of traumatic experiences. We want to talk about finding those positive silver linings in the midst of the situation. We're good at telling people who are grieving, well, at least you have other family members. Or, everything will be all right, don't cry. This is because in our society, we are not comfortable with death or loss or illness or vulnerability in general. Even when it comes to Holy Week, and especially today, Good Friday, we are quick to mentally move ahead to Easter. Yes, Jesus was crucified, but he's going to rise again on Sunday. Everything will be all right. But Mary, the mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, John, Peter, James, and all of the other disciples, they didn't know what we know. What would it be like if we allowed ourselves to sit in this liminal space, to linger on the threshold between death and new life, and feel the feelings of anger, sadness, grief, despair, and even regret that we might have felt if we had been there when Jesus died, or that we might even feel in our lives today. Like my father modeled in his life, I love hard. And that kind of love hurts. But for me, it's worth it. I'd rather have the inevitable trauma of losing someone I loved than to not have that pain because I didn't love deeply enough in the first place. Jesus loved us hard like that, and it hurt him too. It even got him killed. I wonder what God would show us if we would pause to fully experience the heaviness of this day. It might be like what happens when the power goes out in the middle of the night and we find ourselves unable to see in the dark. That is, if we don't immediately grab for the flashlight on our phones. When we sit in the dark long enough, our eyes start to adjust. And faint sources of light begin to reveal their presence. As we start to notice outlines of furniture and other familiar objects around us, we see them from a new perspective. A perspective only possible in the dark. Later in this service, we will sing the hymn, "Were You There When They Crucified My Lord?" As we sing these verses, I invite us to go there, to be with Jesus at the foot of the cross, to be there as he takes his last breath, to be with Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus as they take Jesus' lifeless body from the cross and prepare it for burial, to be there when they lay Jesus in the tomb. I can pretty much guarantee that we will all have trouble staying in this dark and liminal space. Loss and death are hard, especially when we feel we have lost Jesus, our hope for salvation. But loss and death are a necessary part of life, and they are not the end of the story. Before I spoil the ending of Jesus' story, though, let us go back there to the 3 days of waiting and mourning between now and Sunday. While we are there, let us hold in our hearts the memories of the past that we can no longer hold in person. Let us talk to God in prayer about what it's like to adjust to this new life we did not ask for. Let us let God hold us lovingly and patiently as we wait for our eyes to adjust to this temporary darkness and slowly make our way to the light of Easter morning. Amen.